Welcome to Spirituelle Sunday, where women of the world meet. Every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, women from around the world unite for communion with true wisdom, soul purpose, and deep destiny. Watch us on most channels at Spirituelle Society or on our website at spirituellesociety.com. Each week, through inspired teachings, soulful reflections, and supermind secrets, we explore the deeper dimensions of spiritual leadership for women and what it takes to live a powerful, purposeful, pure, and prosperous life on this planet today. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our Spirituelle Sunday. We are so thrilled to have you back, and all women of the world who are watching this. Tonight is a really powerful and very important episode. My name is Lee Jacobs, and I'm joined every Sunday by Kathy Roseborough.
Pleasure.
And tonight our topic is one that I have found to be very common. And before we start tonight's topic, I thought we would start with this beautiful video that actually brought tears to my eyes. I just got sent this video by my dear friend Emma, and I think it just begins tonight's segment with such a pure heart and such a beautiful energy. So we're going to just play it for you.
If you have a sensitive human in your life, please treat them gently. They aren't like others. Their complex nervous systems and gentle hearts become overwhelmed easily. Noise, crowds, arguments, violence, harsh words, raised voices, energy shifts, and anger will be enough for a sensitive person to shut down. They may not say a lot. Their world is internal. You will find them amongst animals and nature because it brings them peace. They are the peacemakers, the healers, and the angels who tread the earth so lightly. So, if you are lucky enough to have a sensitive human in your life, please be gentle with them.
Isn't that so beautiful?
Absolutely beautiful and so true.
So true, and such a beautiful way to start our topic tonight. Every Sunday, we select a topic that we both feel is very relevant, and the topic of autoimmune is becoming, it seems like every month that goes by, it's becoming more of a talked about topic, and more women are finding that autoimmune is just becoming almost like a regular conversation. And so tonight we wanted to talk about longevity and autoimmune and offer personal experience and also offer a unique approach to look at autoimmune, whether it is for yourself or a loved one or somebody that you know. We do not give medical advice on our episodes, nor do we recommend any type of protocols, but we do share from experience. And for me this evening, I would love to share just a story from my own experience. We're going to look at, when you look at biohacking or longevity, a lot of the times it's overly focused on physical actions alone or physical things you can do. And one of the biggest pieces of wisdom that we wanted to get through to women listening every single Sunday is that we can no longer approach the topic of longevity or biohacking for just the physical body, because that's really, it may have some temporary help or it may be a Band-Aid short term, but it's really not addressing the key cause or addressing the healing of the foundation. And so on our discussion tonight, we're going to talk about more of a spiritual approach to longevity for autoimmune. and just offer some thoughts for you to reflect on and contemplate in your own journey. We don't like to label things. And I know for me, for my own journey, I really try to steer clear of putting any labels on my auric field. But just so that we can stay kind of relevant and we understand each other, we've used the concept of autoimmune. And so we're going to talk about, it's not just about addressing the physical body. It's about looking at your beautiful being, just like that video showed today. Women are out of harmony. So even if you don't consider yourself a sensitive, being a woman in this reality is completely off kilter. And so we wonder, I don't know what the exact stats are at this very second, but the growth of autoimmune is running rampant. And yes, we can look at certain factors, but what if we look at it's a signal to women that we're living out of harmony? That is the first thing to think about. So when we tonight, as we chat with you for the next 30 minutes, I want you to consider not just how can I support my physical body, but I want you to also consider your energy body. You know, are you void of energy? Are you desperate for rest? Are you living completely out of alignment with your most sacred values? So the energy or the vital body needs to be refilled. And for women right now, their cup is empty. Their vital body is empty.
Yeah.
And we're also going to address the emotional body and the mental body and the spiritual body, so that, and this will be more what Kathy discusses, some of the root elements behind underneath that are like hiding dormant underneath autoimmune that maybe you haven't considered. So I thought I would start with a brief story. And I haven't really told this story before, but it came back to me a few weeks ago. When I had my children, they're now 10, 11, and 12. I had my kids later. So my first was born at 35. And I had to have 3 C-sections within 4 years because my kids were all breech. And so I had 3 surgeries that were, I never planned for them, but it was something that I had to do. And within 4 years, for somebody who has never had surgery, has always been an athlete, taken such good care of herself, it was quite unexpected. And I actually didn't think about a little bit of a game plan for my emotional well-being, my physical rest and physical healing. I didn't even think of that because I was sort of thrown into that. But I was worried about, okay, I'm going to be cutting my body open 3 times in a major way in under 4 years. But I just, had my kids and did all the things that new moms do. And then about 18 months to 2 years after my third was born, I started having symptoms. And my intuition, at first I was like, oh, it was joint pain. Then I started limping. I actually went to emerge because I was limping and my friends saw me doing this for years. I was limping when I couldn't wear heels. I was limping. And I went to, my neighbor was a doctor and she got me an MRI and she showed me the results. And I said, is it bad? She said, this is not good. So she sent me to an orthopedic surgeon. And of course, what do you think they're going to say? He's like, just get surgery. He's like, you don't feel anything, just get surgery. But there was something in my soul that was like, that's not, it's a path for some. And I understand athlete, but for me, there was just something in me, that healer within, that was like, no, do not pick that path. And I had other symptoms too. I had, rashes on my skin and my hair was kind of falling out, all kinds of symptoms. And I was like, what if this is early onset autoimmune? It was listening to my inner healer, right? So sometimes when you trust your own inner voice, you don't need to be running to all kinds of different appointments. Now, that took some trust because it's a bit scary to trust that voice. Is like, is that voice really telling me,
Right.
But I trusted it. And then I studied with a author. His name's he's an MD and a naturopath, Dr. Biggleson. He's no longer alive. He wrote a great book called Holographic Blood. I did a training with him, and he said out of all of his patients, over 80% of women who have some form of surgery, even if it's dental surgery, after 18 to 24 months post-surgery, 80% of them develop autoimmune.
Those are high numbers.
And what he was saying is that you're not just cutting the physical body. You're cutting through the entire auric field of a woman.
Yeah.
And that second, I was like, it all was an aha. So what I want to share with you from that is that I made the decision to work with some professionals, but to honor my intuitive voice and my inner healer and listen to my guidance. And I got that guidance bit by bit. I definitely took about 1.5 years of rest, but I want to share with you what was my approach. And maybe some people that have had C-sections, or maybe somebody has just had surgery and be like, oh my gosh, I had surgery 2 years ago and I've been feeling this way. So, skin issues, joint issues, hair loss, many of you already know early symptoms of autoimmune. But I decided to really prioritize rest and prioritize my healing, because I didn't want to have to go to the next stage of autoimmune.
Yeah.
So one of the things that was very helpful for me was to identify the 3 streams that run through our body. We have our blood circulation, we have our lymphatic system, which is our sewer system, but we also have our electrical system that runs through our meridians. And my aha moment was that when we have a surgery, and in my case, C-sections 3 times, the electricity it was getting stopped at the scar. So it wasn't moving through my body. And I was like, wow, this is like any type of scar will hinder the electrical flow. And so the first thing I did was research neural therapy, which is really powerful for post-scar treatment. A lot of naturopaths do it, osteopaths. And what it does is it breaks that scar down so that the electrical current can then move. And it was a game changer. So when we talk about longevity, it's never one fits all.
No.
It's about taking a whole protocol together. But I found some of the most powerful therapies that worked were neural therapy, ozone therapy, and cold electrotherapy. And those were really building blocks and then orthomolecular medicine. So making sure you have a really beautiful superfood supplement protocol that works. Digestive enzymes for autoimmune is really important, because you really have to make sure your gut microbiome is very balanced so that it can help rebuild the body. And then obviously there are some other things, but making sure that your protocol that you have for supplementation is really beautiful and is what your body is going to help restore and repair your body. Sauna. The other thing that I realized was that going through childbirth 3 times, I wasn't getting out in the sun very much. And I realized that years of lack of sunshine harms the body. Yeah. And I remember there was a quote by Nadine Artemis, who is the founder of Living Libations. And in one of her books, I don't know the exact quote, but it's based, I think, on an Italian author or poet. And it said, the only part of your body that needs a doctor is the part that doesn't see the sun.
That's good.
I thought that was really beautiful.
Yeah.
So today is just about, remembering that you will be delivered the answers. But the challenge is women are so dysfunctional right now because they're so distracted. They're pulled in a direction that is completely, and Kathy will touch on this more, completely out of alignment with natural law. And now what's happening, especially this summer, is it's like the universe and the planet, the cosmic energy is really just bolting down to women and saying, you can't live like this anymore. Yeah. So bodies are really falling apart everywhere. Last week, I had 12 calls in one day by women who were crying that they don't. It's not just one symptom or one diagnosis. They're getting diagnosed with 2, 3, 4 things at the same time, and it's a complete fracture. And I think I know Kathy will talk about this more in detail, but I think something very more big messaging and very divine is saying this is not how women are meant to live.
No.
It is autoimmune. What if it was an alarm system for us, a message, not in a negative or a fearful way, but it is to tell us, no, this is not in alignment with your soul path. And it is right now that you have to course correct. And that's why we're doing these every Sunday, is to support you rising into the woman you were meant to be. And that is to reflect out into the world highest health and harmony and truth and peace. And that's why I love that video so much, because as women, we're all meant to live in alignment with nature and animals. And we're not meant to be frazzled with anxiety and autoimmune and chronic distress and, living each day, never feeling caught up with our to-do list. It is insanity. It's insanity. And so as we discuss longevity and autoimmune further, and as I pass it over to Kathy, I just wanted you to reflect on, what is your body trying to tell you? And what is the messaging? Now, if you don't have rest or quiet or time out, time alone, you won't get the messages.
No.
And I walk every day. I call it walking with God, but I walk quiet every day, receiving and just almost to be an antenna of divine messaging. And I've been doing that since my mid-20s. And when I don't have that time, I feel more frazzled. I don't get the calm, aligned messages that guide me forward. So if your day is too chaotic or too shoved, even like I'll show you my day planner. It's like one thing a day. Well, you probably can't see it, but my day planner one thing a day.
Yeah.
Because it's just the way, like I remember being on, it's enough. And I remember being on a plane between 2 corporate women, and they opened up their calendars on their laptops and they were all color coded. They had like 100 things a day. And I stopped breathing just looking at them.
Yeah.
That's not a woman. That is a transactional bot. So our conversation today is about really not just thinking about, yes, how do I nurture my physical body? Listen to the messaging I'm getting. Think of some simple things like sauna and rest and walk. Simple things that will point you in the right direction. Take things off your plate. It's not about more. It's not about learning more, putting some more. It's about what can you release? What can you surrender to?
Yeah.
How can you step into surrender? And then I'm going to pass it over to Kat. I could just keep rambling, but I'm going to pass it over.
I love it.
To talk about, okay, well, hidden underneath the surface of autoimmune, what is your emotional, your spiritual, your mental body trying to say?
Trying to say. Yeah. No. And you know what? Just your sharing, like, thank you. You're sharing your experiences like that. There's so many, that's so valuable, because there's so many women don't realize that when they have to go through any type of physical excesses and traumas, and like, never mind having to, your body changes so much through a pregnancy, but then to have to undergo surgery. And as you said, not just once, but several times, you're doing everything you can, staying mentally prepared and emotionally aligned. But when such surgery is cutting and disturbing, as you say, electromagnetic, the currents for our health, that is an interface that's being disrupted. That's between what we call the meridian or etheric body, like the energy body, we'll call it the etheric body, which is like an interface between the subtle bodies and the physical. And that system is so important. It's the double. The etheric body is the double for the physical. So think of it as a blueprint. So if I handed over a blueprint as like an architect to a builder, and said, I'd like you to build this house, but I'm going to take my scissors to this section on the blue lines of the blueprint, so that you can't even see how they go. And I'm going to disrupt them. Well, the builder's going to say, well, I don't understand your blueprint because you've got cut lines. And so it may be not the best analogy, but I'm trying to demonstrate that when you start cutting lines, then you're disturbing right from the blueprint all the way through to the woman's health in emotionally and mentally and spiritual health. So the whole circuit is disrupted. So that disruption, and so glad to hear. I mean, you went at it and you trusted yourself,
Yeah.
and I mean, what a story! Because I'm really encouraging women listening that, of course, we need medical support, but we also need to look at and trust our own feelings. Like, what are we feeling? And so when we start to pursue more than or in addition to our physical symptomology, like healing for solutions for physical symptoms, we mustn't ever ignore the underlying emotional and stress conditions that a woman is going through. Now, that impact on the physical body is something that, women are resilient. Like, they will keep on going and keep on doing that corporate work and keep on building their
Yes.
schedules out, not
Yeah.
realizing how much damage they're doing to the holistic presentation of the whole system. And so it's not until the body just says, hey, time out, like you are overstressing. And so the underlying challenges with physical symptoms of autoimmune disease, especially when it's in the gut, like those are the big ones when you have ulcerative colitis and Crohn's and disturbances where the inflammation is so great, or like you say, you're blowing up a knee, or you're blowing up the practical functioning of a thyroid gland, or there's so many different ways the body will just respond acutely, often at times too, that your body is saying, stop, you are so disconnected from it. You are a woman. You must realize that the woman's health requires a very gentle, I love that video, the gentle, the passivity, the nurturing. If that's not there, what you're running on is you've got your foot on the gas at high speed. And especially when we don't know, like, there was parts of you, thank goodness that was a longer time ago, but you had been living and working and believing that you're in good shape, and it wasn't about that. It was about many streams, not just one. And that's what women don't realize we have to look at. And you jumped in and trusted yourself right away. And so we're asking women who are listening to do the same for themselves. Don't just think it's one area of concern in the physical. You have to look all the way around the circle. Environmental stresses, home stresses, relationship stresses. Are you looking after an elderly parent? Are you looking after your children? Are you having time you can't even look after yourself? Are you getting a bath at night? Are you able to meditate, go for a walk? Like, if you are not included in the day-to-day, you're just giving and giving and giving, something has to snap. And this is why I think conventional medicine struggles with pinpointing the underlying cause, or what causes autoimmune to come up, and they're getting better at it. But when it comes to women taking their health into their own hands, to be able to say, my body's talking to me, I've got an issue going on emotionally or mentally, I'm disconnected from my spiritual self somehow, which is why this is happening. And I'm not going one step further. I am not moving one step until I look at this.
Yes. And this is so important, because I remember, like, I did go to a functional medicine healing institute called Sanoviv. And I remember walking into the airport in Toronto, and I just started bawling because I was hobbling, like limping. It had been over a year and a half, and somebody from the airport came and offered me a wheelchair. And I thought, what? Like, because in my brain, I've taken such good care. Like, what is happening, right? You
Yeah.
almost can't accept it.
Yeah.
And when I got to Santa Vive, there was 8 girls there with some type of autoimmune. They were all a little bit different, but no one could pinpoint what they had. One of them couldn't eat anything without bloating so badly
Yeah.
she was in pain. We were all there for the
Yeah.
physical. We were supporting the physical body,
Yes.
but we also understood that this is deeper. This,
Yes.
we have to invest, like you said, you have to do the full circle of,
Yeah.
is there something within me that I'm ignoring or avoiding? Is a piece of my history that I haven't fully loved and let go of?
Yeah.
And so that is almost the deeper journey. The physical, you can be
Yeah.
supported.
Yeah. Well, the physical is obvious, you can see it, and it's the unseen worlds of the very sublime, the worlds of our of our energy, our existence, of what makes us women. And so remember that we're conditioned and programmed to always do more, because if you don't say no and there's no boundaries, people will just assume that you can do more, and then you start to believe, yeah, I can do more,
Mhm.
not
Mhm.
realizing that as soon as you open that door, it's like opening up a closet with things tumbling out. Like, it'll just keep on tumbling out, and you're going to keep stuffing more into that and into your daily life, thinking, yeah, I can do it. I can do it. But unfortunately, we are not always conscious of how much we give and how little we receive. And receiving, I'm not saying sit there and, just put your feet up all day. I'm talking about balancing the fact that you're conscious of what you're putting out and what you're receiving, that you're conscious of how much time you're giving to yourself to ensure that your body gets the rest it needs. Rest is not is number one. Like, it's so important. And sometimes it's just sitting down, to take a breather, but it's the actual mindset that has to shift at this time, because there's so much more coming in for each of us these days that have to. I'm going a little bit, and I'm going to jump into the spiritual a little bit more right now. Is because of the changing times we're in, women are realizing that they have a very unique and a big jewel, a treasure inside of them, that is their spiritual purpose and their soul purpose, and often a mandate that requires, some time spent to reflect on it. But if they don't have a clean plate, like something that is, allowing one to clear off the platter, clear off the foundation, so you're not adding even more, because otherwise you'll brush off your soul mandate. You'll just brush it off, because you'll say, you know what, I've got enough going. I don't, in my day-to-day world, I don't want this. And the thing is, what you're brushing off is the least important, and you're ignoring the most important. Because when you are aligned with your soul purpose, you're putting yourself into order. You're putting
Mm.
yourself into alignment with source, where your connection to that source is actually therapeutically healing you, because you love it.
That's so good. And do you
Because you
find,
love it.
I find this, a lot of women are realizing this now. My plate is full with everything that is not my soul purpose.
Exactly. Exactly.
And there is an awareness now, at least I
It's
find collectively, where they're like, they want to brush it all off. It's just that sometimes it can seem like the plate is so big of all the unimportant things. But I think that I have noticed this, women are finally putting their foot down and saying, look at this plate full of junk.
yeah,
That
junk.
is
Yeah.
not what I'm here to do.
Yeah. Well, it's not. And you will, if you don't have boundaries and you don't go through the practice of discerning what is important and what's not, you're only gonna get overwhelmed. And it takes sometimes a whole lot of tears, as you're either walking to a health clinic, or you're on your way to a retreat, or you're on your way to your sacred space in your bedroom for a meditation, that the tears come, because you're so relieved that there's
Mhm.
actually going to be some correction taking place. Let the tears come. It's the tears of joy actually underneath that pain, because the tears are saying, yes, I am getting connected to the divine or the soul within me. The physical body will is like a repository for all that you're aligning emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. So it's like the when I say that etheric or that blueprint, it's like now the blueprint where it crosses over in the physical, that electrical meridian set that you referred to, those lines are actually going to be acting as a greater conduit for the natural flow of the field rather than the disruptions. And the body will heal. That's healing.
It does. Yeah. Like they told me I would never run. And I run, I run.
Yeah.
I signed up for a competitive dance program. And
Yeah.
if you looked, according to them, I was like,
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
So it's really getting back into order is the key. And I know you've shared this before, but can you maybe give us just some places to begin in terms of some of the underlying possibly emotional disruptions or spiritual disruptions that can manifest into autoimmune?
Well, so one of the biggest ones are when it comes to a disconnect with the physical body, as a not so that you don't look at it as an object, that it's something that you just take it for granted, and it becomes just an extension of yourself. That is it, almost like saying, well, it better behave because I need it to do all these different things. And it's not being inclusive, it's more just being it's, as I said, it's separate. It's not in a holistic sense being taken into a greater consideration. And when you don't have a woman does not look at her body as being a woven place between the energy fields and the physical. It weaves the greater peacefulness that you're actually seeking. It'll weave it in to a relationship with your nerve system. And when you don't honor the fact that the electromagnetic field works in a weaving, in a way that, when bonded properly or when woven properly, is extraordinarily strong. It's
Mhm.
like a basket weaving. If you have a
So
basket
beautiful.
and you break those ties that you're supposed to have woven, and you cut a few or break a few, then the basket has a weak spot. We have to look at ourselves as a completely woven divine emanation of an expression of that which we are, why we exist here in total oneness with the universe, the total oneness with all life. And when you start messing around with that because you're not considering it, you're making it just a functional, physical, corporeal body. You're just saying, well, this is my body. But what are you doing about it?
Yeah, like I'm
Um,
going to take it to the restaurant. I'm going to take it to its
yeah.
job. When you
And,
look at
and yeah.
there's no
And
sacred relationship with it.
there's no relationship, and often that we end up mistreating it without realizing. It's like, oh, I got to pick up the kids and I got to do this, and my husband's coming home, or this is happening. Well, I'll just stand here and eat some french fries real quickly as I go. The body's just an object. Then you're not listening to it. You're not realizing what a sacred temple it is. It was given as a sacred temple. And it's more, it wants, it needs, and it's you, it's a part of you. It needs all that goes with the territory. We don't just wash it, rinse it, and expect it to just be responsive the next day. you know, I guess there's a lot more to a woman connecting with herself.
Do you feel the Mother Earth is also getting all the women's attention, and autoimmune possibly is just a voice or like a
It's a
street
it's a
light to let us know the red is on, and this
the
is
red's on. Yeah.
not how
Well,
we're meant to connect with our bodies.
yeah. Well, think of what happens when the body goes into an autoimmune distress, even in its early stages. It's angry.
Mhm.
It's angry
And
because
inflamed and
you're mistreating
not
it. It's
well.
yeah.
Mhm.
It's saying red light, red, like an inflammation is happening right now. It's a warning, 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 triple warning. And it's saying, I'm not well, I'm getting angry, I'm getting inflamed. And what women do often is they get mad at themselves. Then they get mad, like, what's wrong with me? Why isn't this
Mhm.
body thing working? And then they're annoyed, which only
Yeah.
compounds. And then you're mad at
Yes.
yourself. It's only a compounding issue. Why is this happening to me? How come it's not happening to that woman? It's happening to me or that person. It's like if you get overcharged, emotionally overwhelmed in the mind. You start having thoughts of what's wrong. What am I not good enough at this game called life? What's going on here? So you notice how I added several other streams in there? I didn't even
Mhm.
stay with one. I would start pulling all the different streams, and we're still not done. We could talk about this for hours. There's so
Mhm.
many streams that are a part of the story. So
Yes.
we're just tapping on a few of them. And so
Yeah.
when that body goes into inflammation, it's trying to get your attention.
Yeah, and the beautiful sensitive women who have trouble saying no want to say and are conditioned to feel shame if they say no. Uh,
Yeah.
I have found, and I'm sure that there are, they can be more predisposed to autoimmune because the cup is overspilling, but they can't say no, and the body's getting angry because they're putting
Yes.
themselves last and not weaving. They're not weaving themselves with their body. That's just
It's
such a great way to describe it.
it's a vicious circle if allowed to get out of hand. And a sensitive woman who has a great mind and really just wants to do things right and do well, and has often a high intellect, sensitivity, warmth, good heart. They often are the ones that end up with those precursors or the warning signs, because you would see in a woman like that that they're brushing off, like, I'm okay,
Mhm.
and they brush it off. And this is where you cannot brush it off. And so the I would encourage women to have a good sit down and analyze whether they feel overwhelmed in their body, overwhelmed emotionally, mentally, and not get to the point where it hits the physical body. Try to catch it before it gets to the physical body. I know, easier said than done. I know, I'm hearing you ladies saying that. But try, try.
Mhm.
Corrections definitely can be made. You are a living witness to that. Okay. So
Yeah, and
def
when you weave with the body, I knew, I was like, "This is early stage, and I wanna
that's right.
catch it before it goes into moderate."
Yes. Yes.
So I
Start.
was like, rest, a year of rest. I mean, I didn't
Yeah.
just sit on a bed and rest for a year, but I definitely kept myself in order and said no more and
Yeah.
had more quiet, spent time more in nature, grew herbs like I did.
Yeah.
I really connected with my feminine.
That's right. That's right. Because that body is remember, the body is predominantly a we talk about polarity as like a battery. It's the negative polarity. It's made up of the nutrients of the earth, which is a
Mhm,
negative pole, whereas the sun is your positive pole,
mhm.
your
I love
masculine
this.
charge. And if you don't look at it as that, remember, the body is a gift from the earth.
Yeah.
And as a gift from the earth, you are responsible for looking after it. And paying attention to what it has to say. So we want to catch those things early.
I love it. Well, we'll have to have a part 2 to this, because I think maybe even opening it up to our beautiful guests to ask questions, because I know everyone knows more than one person with autoimmune now. And I feel it's really running rampant. And I think it is more than just our personality. It's like women have to band together and say, no, we're living out of alignment with how a woman is meant to live. And we need to support each other through this. One little tip that I found very helpful when I was, catching that early was eating sea veggies or seaweed. It's so simple, but I noticed a significant improvement with ozone therapy and eating a little bit of seaweed every day. It was really, really beautiful. So
and minerals.
Minerals.
Yes. We have to have the minerals.
It was so impactful. Anyway, I could keep you here all night, but we will definitely revisit this conversation. For anyone who's interested in really diving deeper into their healing and their wellness and connecting with us on a regular basis and being more deeply supported, this is why we're here. We would love to invite you to join our community at spiritualsociety.com. We actually have our regular connections monthly, and then we do some more beautiful things. So I would love to hear from you. Please reach out if you know someone who this really resonates with. I would encourage you to share this, and we would love to have you subscribe so that you can join us and get a little bit of an alert next Sunday before our spiritual gathering. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, and we will see you next Sunday.
Thank you. Many blessings.